p.m. with 2 locations to serve you. In Bucktown at 1001 Live Oak between Bonneville and Lake Avenue, or in Kenner at 910 West Esplanade at Chateau Boulevard. Let Mr. Ed's cater your next event. Mr. Ed's Seafood and Italian Restaurant. 2 great locations, 1 great menu. Mr. Ed's Oyster Bar and Fish House, now open in the Quarter 7 days a week at 512 Bienville.
Well, it's been established. Some people are full of love. Others are full of hate. And a select few are full of knowledge. Call Ringside Politics with a Punch and Jeff Crouere right now and let us know exactly what it is that you are full of. It's easy. Just call Jeff now at 556-9696.
And welcome back. Jeff Crouere here. It is WGSO, 990 AM, WGSO.com. Thanks so much for joining us. So each day in the program, we have a Ringside All-Star who checks in with us. And on Tuesdays, very pleased to have with us publisher of BayouBuzz.com, Steve Sabludowsky, joining us here on the Ringside Hotline. And Steve, Happy New Year. Welcome aboard.
Hey, Jeff, and how are you doing today? This morning. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Hey, we're doing this, of course, on WGSO.com, WGSO via the mobile app, tune in on the dial, 990 AM. Also, of course, via Google, well, not via new technology.
Yeah.
You can check out at BayouBuzz.com. The video quality, Steve, is amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I think this is the very first time anybody has done this type of quality and hook it up with radio, live radio. By the way, I mean, people can actually see this live on Facebook. I'll put it up on your Facebook page. They can look at it on my Facebook page. They can look on a Google Plus. They can, I'll be putting it up on Twitter. So, this is just absolutely, this is TV quality.
It really is. So, what technology is this, Steve?
Well, it's Bayou Buzz technology.
Okay. All right. Hey, good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very, very sharp images. So, not that what we were doing before was bad, but it's just better quality.
Definitely better quality. And by the way, just to let you know, if we want to get some of your callers on air, we can do that too. So we can have up to 50 people in
on the video.
On the video, yeah. And that's
if they have their own webcams, etc.
If they have or if they have a smartphone, they want to get on and be identified.
Right.
If they want to, yeah, absolutely.
Or they can just anonymously call in.
They can do that too.
Or 556-9696, or send me an email, Jeff at WGSO.com. Sure. They want to do it. Hey, Steve, you, of course, and I have been working together a long time, and we've been covering Louisiana politics for a long time. I started, of course, with the young Republicans when I was very, very young, got into the Louisiana Republican Party, got into talk radio, and of course, writing for Bayou Buzz and the TV show. And a person who was sort of there from the beginning through all of this, CB for Godston, someone I know you interacted with frequently, I interacted with frequently. Very upsetting news that CB, took his own life on Sunday. And of course, we express our condolences to his family. What do you think his legacy is for our local and statewide political scene?
Well, I kind of have mixed emotions about it. I mean, number one, I recognize, his greatness, and that is that he was able to articulate what a lot of people were feeling, and doing it in a way that really none of us were able to do so. To be able to do it in very short 2-3 paragraphs, and be able to put it together on his blog for Godston.com, and then of course to be able to say what he wanted to say on Twitter. He first started his blogging on BayouBuzz.com, And then, of course, when blogs took over, he was able to create his own, which I think was absolutely terrific. I always loved reading what he had to say, um, and to see some of the spatting going on Twitter. Personally, um, I just felt that he was a bad listener. It's one of the things that I personally dealt with, trying to communicate with him. Found that he would just go off on these emotional tirades, and I think that kind of colored part of what he was dealing with, talking about. And so I think a lot of people have mixed emotions. I mean, we loved him, but the truth of the matter is that if you've got to have a sober moment to be able to consume what is being said and not just lashing out. And I think that's what he did. He just lashed out, and I just think that's sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. I mean, I choose to look at him as someone who had a positive contribution overall because I think he really put a spotlight on what was going on in state government like nobody else, and was able to share a lot of his knowledge that nobody else had about what was happening, and seemed to be pretty prophetic about Jindal and certainly the fiscal problems that we were going to be encountering under him. And he was someone who really gave it to both sides, not what we'd call a Republican activist, Democrat activist, seemed to be even-handed in who he went after, and certainly didn't hold a lot of politicians in high regard.
Right.
But that was through a lot of experience in dealing with them. So anyway, I think he's going to be sorely missed because I think he provided a real.
Oh yeah. Look, listen. There's no doubt, and there's no doubt about it. He will be sorely missed, especially with the legislative session coming up. I mean, he had
Nobody analyzed it like he. Nobody
no,
knew it like he did.
I think we lost. I wrote a column yesterday. I think we lost two great minds in the last year. Obviously his and John McGinnis, and both of them had institutional knowledge
Right.
that we just don't have. And so I think he had in terms of CB, I think he had a definite tremendous voice that was out there, and I think that I'm gonna miss his humor. I'm gonna miss
Well,
certainly have
yeah, and
missed
that's a good point.
Ferguson's humor,
He had a great sense of
and
humor.
and certainly I thought that John McGinnis had a great sense of humor. And so let's just we're going forward. Again,
Well, I think it's incumbent upon a lot of other folks to step up their game to try to follow in his immense footsteps and try to inform the public about what is happening, because the traditional media really doesn't do the job, and I think it relies. We're relying on folks in other alternative sources of media to get the information out. Otherwise, we really won't know what's happening. So, anyway, certainly a sad time to hear that story.
What's also said, if I might, and that is that the pain that he was going through. I don't think he really expressed that in any way personally, openly, and that's a shame because he had people that he could communicate with privately. Maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and I don't know anything about that either. All I
yeah.
know is,
But I'm really sad that he had this kind of pain, and maybe it was
yeah.
expressed openly in a different way. But we're going to miss him regardless.
Yeah, and my prayers are with his family,
Sure,
with his
absolutely.
wife, in this difficult time. 504-556-9696. Goyam joins the program right now. Hey, Goyam, how are you? Good morning.
Hey, pretty good, man. Yeah, just saying, I know a lot of people are focused on Sean Payton locally, but, we're being blitzed just locally with the increases in the parking meters next week. We got the Confederate Monument court date next week, I think on the 14th, if I'm not.
14th, right.
Yeah, the 14th. You got the standoff in Oregon going on a national level. I mean, in Europe right now, all hell's breaking loose. The borders are wide open. And like you were saying, alternative media. You guys got to check out our show tomorrow night, Battle in New Orleans Radio. We're going to have a Sandy Hook whistleblower on talking about how a lot of these events, in their eyes and his eyes, as far as Sandy Hook is concerned, have been staged to usher in this executive order you saw yesterday from Obama.
Well, I think he's actually going to make an announcement at 10:30 with more details.
And what's your take on this stuff, Jeff?
I'm frightened by it. I mean,
I know you are.
I'm very concerned.
And look, I love your show. Just wanted to give that little plug. Check out our show tomorrow night. We got a new time, 7 to 9 p.m. And we are that alternative news media option on WGSO.
And what's give us a website again that accompanies the program going?
BattleInNewOrleansRadio.com and DailyResistance.com. That's the website.
Okay.
But as far as can you give us the update on the monument situation?
Yeah. The gentleman who was on with us before, Gary Mason, let us know about a fundraiser that's being held this Sunday at the Rock and Bowl to try to raise some funds for the Monumental Task Committee, one of the 4 groups who launched a lawsuit against the administration to try to retain the monuments. The court hearing is going to be January 14th in Judge Barbier's court. So then we'll find out, I guess, what the next step is going to be in this battle. The city has vowed not to replace the monuments or to take them down until the federal court makes a decision. So I think we're awaiting what's going to happen in court. And I know you're going to have lawyers there from the city and lawyers there from the 4 organizations. So we shall see. We'll be following it closely. Going, thank you. More with Steve Sabludowsky. More of your calls, 504-556-9696, right here on Ringside on WGSO.
Ken Trahan's original prep football report on WGSO 990 AM New Orleans. USA Radio News with Ron.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Got another segment. So what do you want to hit on?
Yeah, I'd like to hit on what we promoted, and that is, of course, what's going on in Oregon.
What about the Jindal legacy? I thought you want to talk about that.
Well, I do want to. I promoted this nationally too. So if we can just quickly talk about, we're all live, but if we can talk about the Obama gun thing, and then also Oregon, and then certainly Jindal legacy for sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks.
The license and limit the ability of criminals and mentally unstable people to get a gun. His new gun control rule comes within a condition that allows healthcare providers to report mentally ill patients to an FBI firearms background check system. Northern California is getting slammed by a strong El Nino storm. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Your locally owned Health Mart pharmacy is committed to helping you and your wallet stay healthy.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance saving me money on prescriptions. They can help you too.
Start saving for the things you love. Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
The beginning of a new year started off right during Rite Aid's 2016 Starting Points, because every week through January 23rd, you can ring in the values with 1,000 Plenty Points worth $10 in savings when you spend $30 on participating products with your Wellness Plus with Plenty card. That adds up to big savings every week for the entire month, but only at Rite Aid. With us, it's personal. Worth at least $10. Limit 2 offers per card per week. Plenty is a rewards program. Terms and conditions apply. See plenty.com/terms for details.
The new Miss Universe is speaking out for the first time since the controversial pageant ending that saw the wrong winner named. Pia Wurtzbach of the Philippines was crowned after Steve Harvey mistakenly named Miss Colombia, Ariadna Gutierrez, the winner. Wurtzbach tells ABC's Good Morning America that she's spoken to Miss Colombia since the unfortunate incidents.
She's okay. I know that she's a beautiful young lady with very talented, and I think that she'll have a lot of other opportunities. She'll do very well, I'm sure.
Miss Columbia has since told a radio station that she was humiliated by the incident and that she'd prefer to share the crown, but Wurzbach says that would be difficult to do.
I think it would be a little bit difficult for two girls to share a crown, but I have high hopes that this will give great opportunities for me and Miss Columbia.
Miss Universe says she has dreams of playing a Bond girl one day, but will spend her reign promoting HIV awareness and helping victims of cyberbullying. This is USA Radio News.
Your locally owned Health Mart pharmacy is committed to helping you and your wallet stay healthy.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance saving me money on prescriptions. They can help you too.
Start saving for the things you love. Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
It's Jeff Crouere, sales manager for WGSO. I'd like to introduce our general manager, Richard Tate.
WGSO is locally owned and operated right here in New Orleans. We believe in helping our local businesses succeed. Are you tired of facing the outrageous advertising rates of our competitors that are looking to promote your business? If so, we have some attractive sales packages available.
Thanks, Richard. Folks, take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Let us advertise your business on WGSO.
Cold temperatures of the morning moderate gradually, and again, it's another day with chilly temperatures. Clouds and sunshine mix in later today. It stays dry. It'll go to the middle 50s for high, drop off again tonight, but not quite as cold, mid-40s in the milder areas. The colder spots may reach into the upper 30s tonight. Mostly overcast skies, with the clouds tomorrow still mostly dry. By tomorrow night, the chance of some rain developing about 50%. Then showers becoming likely during the day Thursday. 60 tomorrow, 60s Thursday.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at Wounded Warrior Project.
Ralph Sanji, WGSO.
Jeff Crouere, WGSO 990 and WGSO.com wants you to get in on the conversation. Call us at 556-9696. Now, sit back and get ready for Ringside Politics with a Punch. Here's your host from ABC 26, the Conifer, the Kenner Star, KTV, City Business, and WLAE. It's WGSO's own Jeff Crouere.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Crouere here. It is Ringside WGSO, 990 AM, WGSO.com. And trying to get this camera straight.
Looks good.
Yeah, trying to get everything organized. All right, Steve Sabludowsky with us, BayouBuzz.com, and you can check it out on BayouBuzz.com, the video. Also, of course, you can chime in at 504-556-9696, talking about CB for Gotst. Also, Steve, we've got now a few more days. In fact, CB's last post was a countdown to the end of the Jindal administration, and got a few more days of Bobby Jindal. What do you think the legacy is going to be?
I think his legacy is that he tried to feather his own nest and failed. I cannot see anything really positive, honestly. I really cannot. I think that he did some things that tried to reform things, education, lawsuits. He tried to improve the economy, and I think he'll get some kudos for that. Although so far, again, the GNP shows otherwise, that he just didn't do well. Louisiana has not done well over the 8 years. Now, maybe the jobs that are promising to come in, maybe he'll get some positives from that. But the economy certainly is joblessness, unemployment is pitiful. We're dealing with a $2.5 billion budget deficit. And he says that he was, he was concerned about the private economy and not the government economy. That's a lot of crap. I'm sorry.
Well, I think one way to look at it is he inherited a surplus and he's leaving us with a massive deficit.
A $1 billion surplus at that.
Yeah. So he inherited a pretty significant surplus, giving us a massive deficit. And now we're dealing with, of course, other problems. So I think, his presidential ambitions, I think that just really irritated Louisianians. And I think the more and more he traveled, the worse and worse his poll numbers got. The more he was out of touch with what we were going through. I think the more people saw that he was just an absentee governor. Legislators, I think, didn't respect him. They didn't want to work with him. And we've got a guy who had incredible, unlimited ambition and didn't even do job one. I mean, the sad thing is, the incredible thing is, if he did a great job as governor, if he would have focused on the job, that would have set him up for who knows what.
Exactly.
I mean, he could have been in line to be a rock star. Yeah. Now he's sort of a has-been, a joke, someone who failed miserably, and justifiably so. I mean, his ambition just got the best of him. And I think the guy's got talent. I think he's an intelligent guy. I think he's got abilities, but he just never put them to use for our benefit, for the people who's paying his salary.
Yeah, Bobby Jindal has tremendous abilities. There's no question about that. He'll do very well, I think, as a radio talk show host, a TV talk show host. I think that he's got a real ability to articulate and to present information.
But I disagree. I don't think he's a very good communicator, really.
Presiding,
I think he talks too fast. He doesn't really show any kind of passion. He doesn't connect with his audiences. I watched him countless times. I look at going back to the State of the Union response speech. That was pitiful.
Well,
and just so many others since then.
Sure. Well, let's hope for the better. I just did an interview with Pearson Cross, Dr. Pearson Cross at University of Lafayette, University of Louisiana, and at Lafayette. And basically, what he said was that Jon Bel Edwards is going to be the new governor, and if Jon Bel Edwards succeeds, then he probably will not be able to have a second term, because look, he's going to have to cut. He's going to have to cut, and he's going to have to raise revenues. Whether you call it taxes or not, it's going to have to be done. And so cutting, you just, can you cut $2.6 billion? We'll see. But regardless, nobody's going to be happy. And that is a job that Jon Bel Edwards wanted. And,
right.
And he's going to have to preside
over.
Well,
he knew. I mean, he served in the legislature. He knew what he was getting into. He knew the status of the budget. So,
no, I disagree about his knowing the status of the budget. I've had this discussion with people on Facebook. I wrote a column about it, and I think that Pearson Cross also agrees with me. The status actually worsened. The report from the committee that, or the organization that determines how bad the budget is, basically the estimating conference, they came out with something in mid-November as to how bad things were, and things have worsened since then. Plus, our prices have gone down, and
But I mean,
collections has also gone down.
anybody as bright as he is would know that that would have been a possibility. Would certainly know that oil prices could go down. Know that we could have worse projections. I mean, that's got to be factored in as a possibility. I mean, these things are never set in stone, so you could be facing a worst case scenario. So what I'm saying is, I'm sure he planned for different scenarios, and I'm sure there was a worst case scenario that he planned for. And I think that's what we're going to be facing. I mean, this is certainly something that hopefully he's got some ideas on how to address. He's got a guy in Jade Arden who also knows the legislature very well as his commissioner of administration. So we shall see. I'm just hoping, Steve, that he is someone who is centrist, works with both parties, is not going to be trying to push a hard Democrat agenda, is someone who is understanding that this is going to have to be worked with the legislature. And I'm continuing to hope that there is a Republican Speaker of the House as a conservative representative of state government, because I don't see anybody there right now, certainly not John Alario, certainly not Jon Bel Edwards. I would hope the Speaker would be someone who could represent that faction, which I think is a majority faction of Louisiana voters.
Well, to me, I don't care if you have a Democrat or Republican as Speaker. I don't care who controls the party, who controls the House or Senate. I do want independence. And if you can have a Democratic governor and a Democratic House Speaker who's independent, same with as a Senate President, then that's great. Party doesn't make any difference to me. Independence does. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I want an independent House, independent Senate. I want an independent branch of government, whether the governor's a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian or Green Party. And we shall see whether the old rules still apply, whether the governor controls the legislature, whether the legislature is going to exert their independence.
Absolutely.
I think we have different branches of government. So maybe I'm crazy, but I think we got a different we have a legislature that should be picking their own leader. I know certainly Barack Obama doesn't pick the House Speaker.
Sure. No, I think it needs to be an independent. I think that we've had an independence when we've had the governor picking, and we've had some independence, but that is not very common. So again, I'm not playing the party politics, but I do think that we need to have definitely somebody who speaks on their own for their house and not for the governor.
Yeah, I agree. 504-556-9696. Let's get these calls in, Steve. We'll start off with a guy who goes by the handle Colonel Jessup. Welcome aboard.
Good morning, gentlemen. Jeff, I'd really appreciate it if you let me make my point before you cut me off today, especially considering the fact that I'm going to use one of the nastiest word in the English language for you right-wingers. Starts with an F. It's a four-letter word. It's fact, F-A-C-T. Here's the fact. New hero has emerged in the Benghazi scandal, the witch hunt of Hillary Clinton that spent billions of our taxpayer dollars for no reason other than to tarnish the great lady. Here it is. His name is Major Brad Podletsky. He worked for the Benghazi committee. He came out saying that it was nothing but a witch hunt, just like McCaffrey did, who lost his job, the Republican. But here's the facts on Benghazi. There were like 10 or 11 different embassies that were protested at the same time, just like Benghazi. The CIA chief, who has said that there is no stand-down order ever given, but if any was given, it was because those three guys who were at the CIA compound were told to come to protect the CIA because Benghazi, who had their own people to protect them, and the ambassador shouldn't have been in Benghazi. He should have been in Tripoli. All of that, and Hillary had nothing to do with any of that. But next, here's the deal. You were talking about surpluses. Jeff, do you know the only president in the last 50 years to leave a budget surplus? What was his name?
I think his name was William Jefferson Clinton. The same tired guy who was on the campaign trail yesterday, looking really, really weak and feeble, and had a bunch of women behind him grimacing and seemingly unhappy that they were there. Let me say this about your first point. I recommend the movie 13 Hours, which is getting ready to come out, Colonel. Maybe you can get educated, watch that movie. That should be very interesting about the whole Benghazi scandal. Maybe we'll learn more. The people that are behind the movie are those who are there on the scene. They wrote a book. Now it's being turned into a movie. Looks exciting from the trailer I've seen. I'm going to definitely watch it. And maybe you should too, Colonel. Hang on, Steve. We got to run to a break. We'll come back with one more segment with our special guest from BayouBuzz.com. You can check out the new video, which is now being shown at BayouBuzz.com of our interview. A very sharp quality. And of course, you can chime in with your phone calls, 504-556-9696, right here on the airways on Ringside on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, Eric Asher here with my good friend Mike Delahousie, the TikTok Cafe.
What'd you say, Eric?
Hey, Mike, you know what my prescription medication, the TikTok Cafe, have in common?
What's that?
They cause drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, cramps, diarrhea, blurred vision, muscle aches, gas, heartburn, upset stomach, constipation, weight changes, decreased sex drive, impotence, dry mouth, ringing in the ears, depression. Oh, yeah, and suicidal thoughts. It's the TikTok Cafe, Causeway and I-10 in Metairie.
If you believe in the Second Amendment, the best place to go to support it, protect it, and practice it is the St. Bernard Indoor Shooting Center located in Araby on Aycock Street. That's right, in Araby, but it is well worth the trip. For great prices on guns and ammo, an up-to-date shooting range, and friendly service. That's the St. Bernard Indoor Shooting Center on Aycock Street in Araby. Their website is stbisc.com.
A woman took a prescription into her local pharmacy. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion, and the pharmacist appeared covered with soot, his clothes tattered. He approached the woman and said, "Please ask your doctor to write out the prescription again, and this time tell him to print." When you think how central communication is in our world, it's actually a wonder that there aren't more explosions. It's so easy to misunderstand or be misunderstood. Do your best today to speak clearly, and don't be offended if someone misunderstands. God has spoken clearly, but try as we might, sometimes we don't. This is David Jeremiah, encouraging you to get on the road to new life. Discover God's clear words to us on Route 66.
Route 66, driving the word home. Log on to Route66Life.com. Start your journey home today.
Hey, you want a place to vent your opinion on, let's say, a sacred cow, or just a place to shoot the bull? Well, Ringside Politics with a Punch and Jeff Crouere is your barnyard, baby. Call us now at 556-9696.
All right. Wow. So much on the table here. We're jam-packed. We're going to be joined in our next segment by Michael Cannon of the Cato Institute. 504-556-9696. Steve Sabludowsky joining us, Ringside All-Star with us at BayouBuzz.com, checking out this new technology this morning, a new video that we're broadcasting at BayouBuzz.com. Our friend Brian in Metairie checking in. We'll try to get to everybody. Hey, Brian, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Crouere, to you and you guys.
Good morning.
Things. Yesterday on Kelly File, the three survivors, they had a really good interview she did with them, and on how the Marine, it was two SEALs and Marine. The Marine's arm was almost blown completely off at the mortar, and yet, as bad as he was wounded, when he was finally evacuated onto a jet that wasn't sent by our armed forces, I believe it was a chartered jet by somebody, he refused to get on a gurney. He walked on that jet with his arm hanging by strings. Number two, something I wish both of you would talk about. If this governor does get the Speaker of the House that he wants, it makes you wonder, not only is he going to raise taxes, but how much more is he going to raise spending As I've never seen anybody that's been elected to a new position as high as a governor not raise spending in one way or another, and the money's not there to raise the. I mean, it's.
Well, I was going to ask you, how's he going to raise spending without the money? I mean, we got to.
And that's what worries me, especially for New Orleans.
Yeah.
You got a mayor that's raising everything. Now, if the governor raises on top of that, how do you? And those who can't afford health insurance that have to pay this penalty, how do you feed your family? Thank you very much.
All right, my friend. That's Brian and Metairie. Steve, a quick response. Got to get to everybody here.
I agree. I mean, it's really hard to raise spending in this type of environment.
All right, Tony in Metairie checking in. What's happening, Tony? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hey.
You know, I'm thinking about this thing the president's about to do this morning. He's going to discuss about talking about executive orders for gun stuff. Now, I've been listening and trying to follow just the brief things that are coming out here and there, but it kind of goes back to his gun control resolution about 2 years ago that didn't pass. And I had sent you a bunch of that stuff meticulously. I separated it and dug into it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is that, and I think we're going to hear it's going to come out, is that, this morning I heard, they're now going to, he's writing these regulations. He's rules and regulations. It's not going to be laws. It's going to be rules and regulations. And what they're trying to do, and I think the reason it failed was because back then he wanted to develop this entire system where you put a location in every state, you man it with about 6 to 10 employees, and then you have supervisors and directors and areas distributors and all that. It was just a big bureaucracy looking to cost about $10 billion over a period of a couple of years and stuff. But one of the lingering things that they just briefly had eased out this morning was this idea that your doctor can determine whether you can own a gun or not. It's going to be by a type of medication that you're on. So if you're on any kind of like a mood elevator or any kind of ADD or any kind of psychotropic type of medication, your doctor's going to be in a position to report you, and there's a possibility your guns could be confiscated, or you're not allowed to even get one.
You raise a very interesting point, Steve. As an attorney, have you looked into that? Well, we don't know the official word from the president until he makes his announcement later on, but that's some of the speculation.
Yeah, I mean it's a really difficult issue. Here's the thing: all of us are concerned about people who shouldn't have guns having guns. One of the group of people are people who are, say, not mentally sound to be able to own or carry a gun. How do you deal with that situation? I don't know. I certainly would like to see how the president deals with it. I'm against, by the way, just to let you know, I'm in favor of tightening the regulations, but I'm against the president doing it. I don't like executive orders at all. I don't like when Jindal had an executive order dealing with religious freedom. I was against that. I'm against this. So, but I do understand the concerns that this caller is expressing. I know people who absolutely shouldn't be carrying guns, owning guns. They become wacky, 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, I know these people, and it scares me that they're able to buy guns.
504-556-9696. Next in line, it's James in Metairie. Welcome aboard, James. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning to you, Jeff, and good morning, Steve. Jeff, first I want to say thank you to Colonel Jessup for all the kind words he spoke about James from Metairie last year. Thank you, Colonel. I salute you, sir.
President of the James in Metairie fan club, actually.
Keep up the good work. Yes, he is.
Yes.
Jeff and Steve, concerning the video in Bayou Buzz, you're right. It's great, great quality video. But Jeff, I have a quick observation.
Yes.
Your studio, and particularly Jeff, your chair is blue. And that's a color, Jeff, associated with liberals, progressives, Democrat?
It's my favorite color, James.
Well, you're sitting in a blue chair. It's
Yes.
got to have a positive influence.
I've got a blue coffee mug I'm drinking out of right now. The WGSO sign is in blue.
Jeff, there's still hope for you to come to the good, away from the dark side.
I thought you were a Republican, James.
Well, Jeff, I have hope of these Christian conservatives like what's his name, Franklin Graham, leaving the GOP. That's my dream. And
are you still a Republican?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right.
He took a big first step. Now, Jeff, one of your more consistently deranged callers, they consistently question Barack Obama's patriotism when they make the statement, the question, whose side is he on? Well, real quick about Robert E. Lee. Folks, whose side was Robert E. Lee on? Robert E. Lee was on the side of a country that wanted to preserve human slavery. Robert E. Lee was on the enemy side. That's a fact. Now, quickly about C.B. Forgotten.
Yes.
I went to the website, Steve, and the website is still up. Of course, I don't know, his wife is in a period of mourning right now. Jeff, the Louisiana Misery Index is a great resource to show you how really horrible conservative governance should be. But, Jeff, Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, he died.
Yeah.
He had a group of successors. John McGinnis had Jeremy Alfred, who picked up the ball for his website. The question is, Steve and Jeff, who is going to pick up the ball from C.B. Forgotten and continue his great work? Who will be C.B. Forgotten's successor? It was sorely needed. I don't see it, and I'd like to have you all comment.
Well, that's a very interesting question. And Steve, in our final minute or so, who do you think will be the successor to that? Do you think anyone will continue that site, those services that CB offered?
I can tell you some people I certainly hope do not, who are both some on the conservative side and some on the liberal side. But no, I really, he had his own talent, and he, it's a shame.
Yeah, and he didn't have a successor in the wings. He didn't have, the whole setup that John McGinnis did with the succession plan in place with Jeremy. And Jeremy's done a very good job, I think, following in the footsteps of John McGinnis. So that's an interesting question, James. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Steve. BayouBuzz.com, of course, check it out. And check out this video. Very good quality. And, of course, my column will be there later on today. All right, Cato Institute next, right here on Ringside.
Radio.
All right, thanks, man.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
I'll
it,
have
really.
something, hopefully not too late, okay?
Gotcha, really.